Well, hello and
Ba-da-ba-ba-dum-bum.
welcome back.
Wah. Howdy, howdy,
Uh,
howdy.
I'm Tara,
I'm Natalie.
and this is We're Making a Movie, a podcast that talks about the fact that we're making a movie. We're like halfway through making a movie. It feels weird to say we're making a movie because we made a movie,
Mm-hmm.
technically. It's in the can.
Mm-hmm.
We're still making that movie because now we're in post. Uh, but right now, what's happening on the podcast is we're going to go back through and recount the adventure of making that movie, of getting it in the can. Because if you've been following along, you know that we are like, yay, we're going to make a movie. And then we just stopped putting out content for a month because we were busy filming. Before we really dive into today's episode, I want to do a little housekeeping. If you are wanting to help support the movie that we're making, turns out it's the apocalypse. Monetarily speaking, we have ways of doing that, and one of those ways is PayPal. We have a PayPal set up. We got links on all the places, and I want to thank Jack Boots for doing a move through the PayPal system. Jack Boots, you're awesome. Thank you so much. Any amount, no amount is too small. Every amount is going to help. We've been running the numbers for the budget for post production, and it's an achievable amount. Like it is.
Yeah.
Our starter number is like so good.
Yeah, which I mean, for those have been on the journey with us when we talked about crowdfunding, we did say we were going to, we were going to break it, compartmentalize it. We were going to have our production costs and then our post costs, and we were going to figure that out when we got there. So we are there, and we're trying to figure it out, and it's very manageable, which is fantastic.
It's I when the first draft budget is basically what this is came in from Allison. I was elated. It's like, whoa, that's it. That's all we need. Now it's gonna
Mm-hmm.
be more. It's gonna be more because there's like marketing costs, distribution issues, all kinds of other things that we need to add to this budget, and things will cost more. They always do, but it's so achievable. I'm really excited. So thank you to everyone who's done the PayPal route. We're putting all that money toward this. If you want to be an investor and help us get through post production, we're looking for investors. So please email us.
Mm-hmm.
We'll supply you with all of the various super official documents that you need to make a
Mm-hmm.
decision on whether or not you want to put your hard-earned monies into our little project. And you'll get to see the script and the deck and all the other stuff that isn't necessarily out there for the public.
Mm-hmm.
Also, before we get going, I just want to, I don't know what I was going to say. I had something lined up in my head and now it's gone.
Well,
I,
I was gonna say on that same note though, like for everyone to keep an eye out because in the next couple months we will be launching a small crowdfunding
small.
campaign compared to what a feature costs to make, but for
Yeah.
post. So, with the numbers manageable enough that we may try to go a different route, and but
Hmm.
I think we have that's a discussion that we're working on right now.
Yeah.
Is it going to be crowdfunding? And that in that situation, then it's those bite sizes, those really
Hmm.
bite size amounts that really get it done. So please keep an ear and
Stay
eye
tuned.
out for that. Yeah.
Stay tuned. Stay tuned. We'll have
I
more info
knew
soon.
as soon as you said that, Tara, as soon as you said script, I was like, I bet Shannon's never gotten the script.
Ah, did you just, ah. For those of you listening to the podcast, we do this show live on YouTube on Wednesday mornings, and we do read the comments that come in. And one of our investors, Shannon, is is in
Shannon was
and
our very first investor.
she
And
was
because of that, she ends
because of
up,
Shannon. Yeah,
we didn't have the things necessarily when she
we
was
were prepared.
onboarding. So,
Yeah,
yes, Shannon, we can send you a script if you would like it. We
yes,
will discuss
Shannon.
later. Tara, I knew the moment you said it, I was
But when
like,
I
I
said
bet
it,
Shannon.
I had, well, that's the thing is she came on so early. We didn't even have a bank account yet. Like we were
No, we
so,
didn't.
she was so the first person. We didn't have our ducks in a row to like take in any money yet. And so poor Shannon. Like, thank you for being patient as we got all our ducks in a row, and then as
Ducks
we
in a
catch
row.
you up,
The ducks weren't
so
even
many.
born yet. We
They
were
were
we
they were
were
just little
we were
eggs.
sitting on eggs in ourselves. Which came first, the chicken or the egg? Well, it was a duck egg, and I was sitting
Duck
on it.
egg. Appropriate. All right. So, like I said earlier, we are going back and recounting the filming experience. And the way that we thought the best to do that was to go to each of our department heads and talk to them about what their experience was with their pre-production, their production, their post-production process, their wrapping out. And it just so happens that the head of our wardrobe department is our very own Natalie.
Yeah, that the thumbnail for this was not an April Fool's joke. It is
No.
me. We're interviewing me today.
I love that it's on April Fools that we're doing something like this. It's
Yeah.
just really kind of funny. So, as often happens when Natalie and I work on something, often I do the producing part of things because I love it, and Natalie does the wardrobe stuff because she's incredibly good at it. She's also
And I love
done
it.
wardrobe for other people,
Hmm.
and oh God, she's incredible at it. Like the thoughtfulness that she goes about with and picking clothing for characters. It's not just, oh, here's a cool looking shirt. There's so much more to it. And I think for as long as I've known you, Natalie, you have been a costume person. You've had bins of
Hmm.
costume from day one since I met you. And it's been just this running joke of the costume collection, which
It's gotten worse and worse.
grew over 20 years of knowing you. It grew to epic proportion to the point that we at one point were considering opening up a wardrobe and prop department like
Hmm.
rental so that we
Hmm.
could rent out to people these items because they were just sitting in bins and on hangers in a
Hmm.
garage and like definitely could be going out into the world. And Natalie was constantly loaning things out to people to the point where like, why don't we just start like getting money for this from, not our friends, but like start raising money. Anyways,
And you know
all
what
that to
stopped
say,
us from doing that is inventorying.
yeah, every time the idea of sitting down and inventorying everything
Putting
was
it
like,
all on like liner. Mm-mm.
oh,
Yeah.
it's so not worth it.
No.
So, anyways, Nelly, you tell the people's like a more formal wardrobe resume for yourself. Like, how did you even get into doing costumes? Like, I
Well,
don't even know that.
no, I mean, costuming was always such a big deal in my house, like Halloween and stuff like that. So we had one costume box that was not upstairs. We didn't have it upstairs. I don't even know. It must have been in the garage. And we weren't allowed to take it out until until October hit. So then we would take that out and we would dig through those pieces and always put together something new. We didn't go out and buy costumes that
Mhm.
often. So it was like, you're going to be a prince, but you're going to use this shirt and all these like little different pieces that we would put together. And then
Oh.
you would have to buy supplement pieces. Anyway, but then what happened was I started doing sketch comedy, and you need to come up with these weird elaborate costumes for things like, on short notice and on no money because I was broke out in LA.
All people
And so
are in
you just start
LA.
to like, yeah. And so now you're at the thrift store and I need something that gives king vibes. And I'm like, okay, well, what gives king vibes? And I ended up buying a robe and then adding like a stole to it and things like that. And so that was, fun. That was Monty Python and that was the sketch groups. And then you and I started to do
Hmm.
our own content. And I think it used to be a box. I had one box in a closet, and then that became a big old suitcase. And then that became Tara and I needed to have a storage unit somehow. We had a joint storage unit for a while.
We did. That's right.
Yeah, and I remember it was at two bins at that point of just costume pieces and then a lot of other stuff. I don't know. I don't
Hmm.
remember why we had such a big storage unit because there was a lot of stuff in there suddenly. And then
Yeah. It grew
yeah,
really
it grew
fast after the
quick.
storage unit.
Yeah.
Don't get a storage unit. If you get a storage unit, your stuff becomes what is it? Gerbils, Kerbals, Herbals? What's that word? The Star Trek.
Trebles?
Trebles. Comes like
Yeah.
trebles and it just starts to multiply behind your back. It's
It
weird.
does. Well, and then it became, do you remember when it was just we got rid of the storage unit and then it was just the room in the back of my house? Justin
Yes.
and I had a two-bedroom and the other bedroom was just storage, which I keep thinking about doing again. Anyway, so I think we did the first thing that I really costume was I think social medium for
Okay.
you.
Yeah.
And then from there I met Paula Rhodes And she got me hired to do the new season of Peter and Wendy when they did it, their web series, which was one of the more difficult things I had ever done.
That was
No,
so hard.
from Imaginary Friends. I think Imaginary Friends was in between because we did
Oh,
Imaginary
yeah.
Friends.
Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so I just started doing our stuff, and then people would ask me, and then I would do their stuff, and then other people would ask me. I did at one point in time think I was pursuing it, and then I had one bad gig, and I was like, I don't want to do this. I'll do it for my
Mm-hmm.
friends.
Yeah.
I will, and I love doing it for my friends. I volunteer, friend. I
Yeah.
volunteer, pay me, but I also
Pay me.
volunteer.
But yeah, you can't get Natalie unless you it's like Bill Murray. You can't get a hold of Bill Murray without the right number. Like you can't get Natalie as a wardrobe person unless you know her.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I do really enjoy doing it. Yeah, so then it was like, yeah, Peter and Wendy, and I think like, social anxiety and then imaginary friends and May I Put You on Hold was a big one. Like that what I'm proud
Hmm.
of, like resume wise. And then this, then
Yeah.
this was like and the only reason I knew I could do this one was because I had done Peter and Wendy, because that was a web series that we filmed in like 5 days, and there were five
Hmm.
characters, and it was, a lot of
Insane.
costumes. Yeah.
There's a lot of pages in a day. That was one of
Hmm.
those back in like 8 years ago or so, a lot of these web series were like a one shot, one setup web series where the characters would come in and out kind of like a play, but you because of that you would wind up doing like somewhere upwards of 20 pages a day, meaning that
Yeah.
you were doing several episodes a day, meaning you were changing costumes constantly. It was like a method to make content quickly
Hmm.
and on the cheap, but still get
And
out fun
and
stories.
and like this one, we and like turns out it's Apocalypse. They did it by location, so it was like anything
Hmm.
that takes place in their little bar area, anything that takes place in the office, because they were
Yeah.
building them inside apartments, which was so amazing. But because of that, it meant we were filming all the office scenes in a row, and it was five different characters taking place over, I think it was a like 2 month period. And so it
Hmm.
was a lot of costumes. That was crazy. That was stressful. That was fun.
Oh man, I wish we'll get into this in a second. I'll make more sense, but man, I wish you had Canva back then because like could you imagine
Oh
the
yeah.
system that you finally have developed, how helpful that would have been for
Mm-hmm.
that. That was hard.
Mm-hmm.
That was really, really hard.
Yeah.
Uh, so this is like, as a wardrobe person, this is truly your first feature film. Like up to now, you've done. Well, I don't know. Peter and Wendy and Social Medium were the length of feature films. They just were broken down in ways that were different.
Yeah. I mean, I think
Yeah,
it's same number of pages. For a
yeah,
costumer, it doesn't make much. I don't think it
difference.
changes much.
Yeah, as far as like a small series versus
I got another cup of
what.
coffee. I got a delivery. I'm so excited. Thank you.
That's amazing. That reminds me so much of
Magic.
like our old live streams where just things would just show up for us, like snacks would just arrive.
Magic.
Magic. Oh, it's so funny. Okay. All right. So on this one, pre-production was a huge, huge deal for you. Not every department has got a massive pre-production. Art department and wardrobe definitely had a huge
Yeah.
lift for pre-production. And you actually kind
Hmm.
of got to start early because you've been living with the characters for so long and you
Yeah.
knew them so intimately, like because you wrote it.
Right.
But I want go ahead and like talk to me about breaking down the script. Like you're taking your own work, but now you're having to look at it through a new lens entirely, and that's got to be a really unique experience.
Well, it's not just a new lens entirely. You have collaborators and it was kind of interesting to give over that control to Michael, or Mike, I'm sorry. Um, I, in everything else we've done where I costume for our projects,
Hmm.
I think mostly we were working with directors who didn't care. Like they were
True.
like, "Sure, Natalie, you do you." But then,
Yeah.
and I'm showing them pictures and they're like, "You pick." Like
Yeah.
whereas Mike actually had opinions on it. And that's great. That's great. I mean, projects that I've worked on with other directors, obviously they've had opinions. Ash is very opinionated about what she
Hmm.
wants costume wise, and I'm not. That's not a bad thing. I'm not saying that. That's really good. But when it becomes from like I have a visual for this character, and now I have to hand over part of that to a director,
Hmm.
and we're all working so closely, that was different. And Allison and I started, our other producer, she costumes for her productions a lot. So we started working together on it. And very thankfully so, because the framework that she laid out for it ended up being super helpful. And it wasn't something that I had necessarily ever done before. She, I do everything pen and paper. I don't need a spreadsheet. She sent me a spreadsheet and I was like, but I was once I fell in love with this. I'm going to throw the spreadsheet up there. So if you end up listening to this podcast, you might want to go see the live version of this. That's not it. Why is that showing me the wrong one?
It just goes to the last thing that was shown.
Rude. Okay.
Yeah.
What says remove? It's not on the stage. There you
There you
go.
go.
Okay, so this is just a spreadsheet, and down one column is what scene number it is, and then there's a little description of it, and then indoor, outdoor, what's happening, characters in that scene, and then later on I get into like what costume number that is. Just this is what I use this for 100%. It's just to plot out what what number of costumes I'm going to need and what things are specifically mentioned. So just like with props and set deck, there are very specific things that are mentioned, and you need to count for those. But you also need to count how many total looks you need for the person. And that starts with just very, going through, I'll go through the script and I will highlight every time it's a new day, every time I think there's a costume change for someone, like, and that changed up until the day we were shooting. We ended up going, wait, why is this a new day? Like once we're filming it, I went, okay, so we're going to get rid of that costume, or wait, we need to establish that this is a new day. I need a new costume. Luckily, I mean, I brought a lot of extra stuff with me. But it's very helpful to break this down, because this is just one sheet, one part of it. But if you scroll down to the bottom of this, you'll find that by the end of it, I had 16 looks, Tara had 19 looks, and those are individual looks. It's marked in there sometimes if add a blazer. So it's the same it's the same look. I guess it's whether or not you need to change, if there's a
Oh, yeah,
change
yeah.
that is involved. And when I first got this, it was actually much more. Allison had sent it, and I was like, I don't actually think they need to change there. And part of that was because I had written the script, and I was like, no, they didn't have that, Anyway, and then you just kind of next from there. That's just the very basic of how you're going to break it down. You need to know those specific items that you're going to need. And then after you go through and get those very specific items, I think you and the director kind of need to go through and figure out what their looks are. What are their So Allison had sent this inspo board. She had one of these inspiration board for each of the characters. And I'm just going to use Karen as an example through the whole thing. And she sent this one. It's very bright colors and very, there's a lot of bubble gum to this look to me is what I got from it.
Yeah.
And to me, it was actually a little too. The one she sent for Amanda's character, I was 100%. That's it. And the one she sent for Jared's character, I was like 100%. That's it. Which actually felt really good because that meant we had written them in that way.
Yeah.
This one actually for me was not it though. This was. I hadn't ever pictured her in pinks necessarily, which is fine. I was like, pinks, I can go with pinks. That was not more because it was me than anything else. But these looks to me were a little too bubblegum, a little too Barbie. And I then switched it to this. This is much more, to me, whimsy, and it doesn't have the same bubblegum. And while there's pink, even anything that didn't have pink on it, we had pink somewhere. Her color was pink. I wanted her to feel more like sunshine than like bubblegum.
Yeah.
And so what I did, and I hadn't done this before, and I'll start really quick. I'm going to pause here and go. All these images are pages that I had done in a Canva, and I had never used Canva this way before. But I had worked on a project with Tara that I came in and just helped actually put clothes on humans. I didn't costume it. I didn't do the costume design. I just came in and took over because the costume designer was going to be too busy.
Yeah.
So
You were the wardrobe assistant. Yeah.
Right. And we were hiring someone to do that for us. And So she had done that with that project, Miss Brown, and it was really helpful. It wasn't Canvas; she used Google Sheets.
Okay.
But I use Canvas so often that I was like, oh, this would be helpful to build it in here.
Hmm.
Especially when I'm going to have to pass it off, and especially since we were working with people that were across the country.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, and
I
Canva's great
high,
because it
yeah,
has so many bells and whistles. It makes it really, really easy to like isolate a shirt, isolate this image, and like pull it all apart in a way that's like very user friendly, more so than Google Sheets or Photoshop or anything like that.
yeah. So the collaborative effort with that. Now, I will say normally, and this is normally I've used Pinterest in the past because you're not doing as many looks. This was so many looks that it became like, oh, we're not going to be able to just go scroll through a Pinterest board. I do still highly recommend Pinterest, excuse me, to start these inspo boards and stuff.
Hmm.
Like I will say with this inspo board, you have to tell your director we don't own any of these things. you
Yeah.
you show them all these pictures and go, is this the look you want? Does this work for
Yes.
you? And tell them we don't own any of these things. If you want any of these specific items, it's going to cost you.
Yeah,
Now,
it's like having a sample song. Do not get attached to this song.
yes,
This is
yes,
not the song. This is
yes.
not the sweater.
And so with that said, and I made the mistake when I was building this. I was just scarfing images off the internet. And then later on realized, oh, wait, I want to find that thing. What did I search to find that thing? So I would recommend if you're going to do this, if you're going to build an inspo board like this, be building your Pinterest board as well at the same time and just scarfing these images so that
Scarfing
you can
links.
find
Yeah.
them again, scarf the links.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So I highly recommend using Canva, using Pinterest for those. It's easy to collaborate, especially with this, because then you can go click on an individual image and leave a comment. So you not even just on a
Yeah.
page, like so Mike was able to get in here and then click on an image. Do we own this? No, we don't. I already said that. So okay,
Oh,
then
that's so
so then
funny.
the next thing I did, because there was a conflict in like conversation about like the imagery for Karen, I went through and I did this other page that I've never done before, and
Oh,
I think I will
love
do
the
this
page. Yeah.
forever when you're building costumes and it's not just one look. If you have to build a whole character's wardrobe, a closet full of clothes for people, I did this. It's like your style. Her style is whimsical, childish, marches to her own beat, dresses for herself, relaxed, cute but not girly, confident in everything, quirky but not kooky. I thought, okay, that's her style. What are her colors? We're like bright colors, no black. What's the look? Anything goes. Personality first, then male gaze. And I was like, this is, I did one of these for Amanda and it was very different. It was
Yeah.
structured. It was, like those are the words we want to use when we're looking for items.
Yeah, it was incredibly helpful. Like this character breakdown page that you did for each of our
Mhm.
characters, I actually wound up taking Amanda's and giving that over to the art department when they were talking about the apartment that's Amanda's apartment. Like this is who Amanda is. She's structured. She's this.
Mhm.
It's not just like it's not just like white walls. It's more like white is just the canvas for other color. It was really, really helpful. I highly recommend doing a page
Mhm.
like this for your
Yeah.
characters.
And then this was helpful for me as well was the where they shop. So
Oh
I did it for
yeah.
Jared, I did it for Karen, I did it for Amanda. And Karen's was actually the hardest one because it was thrift stores, Shein's, Zara, like Forever 21. Like she shops because for her it was different than like I think on Amanda's I had Express, and like it was like
Yeah.
just like what does that invoke in you when you're thinking about buying items for them.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, yeah.
And it was yeah, it was, and being able to then hand that back to the producer and the director and go, okay, I've got these looks, I've got this inspo, is this okay? Can I start building off of those things? Because now you go, yes, this is what we want, this is the direction we want to go. Now you have to have the budget conversation. I've got yeah, I've got 20 looks per person. I've got whims, like all of my stuff. That's not stuff I own. Like that, I don't live in that color palette.
Mm-hmm.
So there, it's like, what is our budget? I think I might have written it down in our notes here.
Yeah.
So there's sourcing versus purchasing. I mean, you're still when
Hmm.
you're sourcing, I consider thrifting sourcing versus purchasing
Okay. Yeah.
because it's price point about the
Yeah.
same.
Price point.
So if
Yeah.
you're pulling, so you can get on on a small, independent short film, you can just go and wear your own clothes, and which is often what happens. You
Yeah.
get you can send them all this information and say, "Show me what you got." And they can send you pictures of outfits they have
Hmm.
and whatever,
Hmm.
and you can do the whole thing for free. But if you got something very specific, like a gas mask or a bright colored terry cloth robe that you need, or like that's listed specifically in the script, now you need to decide: are you purchasing? Are
Hmm.
you so? I found this very interesting. I realized I had the same budget for May I Put You on Hold as I did for this film.
Oh, wow. Okay. May I Put You on Hold is a 15-minute short film with one look for about five characters, which
Yeah.
is, yeah.
Which is
Wow.
low for that. So when I broke down May I Put You on Hold, there were very specific items that we needed.
Very.
Like
Yeah.
my character in that needed to be a 50s receptionist, and we wanted certain colors, and I was like,
Hmm.
the bare minimum I can do. So I always look at it per look. If you're sourcing and thrifting, you can do per look. Like I can do it for $10 because there's one item I'm going to have to purchase. I already know that. Like,
Okay. Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it's like I can use your jeans, I can use your shoes, I can use your whatever, but I'm probably going to have to buy a sweater,
Hmm.
or somewhere else or I end up using all of yours for that one. However, somewhere else I will need to buy two things. So if I'm going to be sourcing and thrifting, I can do it probably for $10. And unless there's something very specific mentioned in the thing, like a bright terry cloth robe, now I have to go hunt that down. If I'm purchasing, the minimum is $100 per look.
Hmm.
So it's like it's just, if I'm gonna have to buy a dress,
Yeah.
I need to have at least room for $100.
Oh,
And
yeah.
maybe even then I'll still be able to, I mean, and that's thinking I'm still gonna go thrift shoes or be
Hmm.
able to
Yeah.
pull heels from you. Um,
People
Otherwise
always
I'd go
forget
to
about shoes. Like shoes are wildly expensive. And
shoes and accessories.
if you're being very specific about who the character is, those shoes can
Hmm.
get very expensive. And if you have a character that shops at a place like Express, like if that's who
Hmm.
this character is, like that's gonna be money because
Yeah.
that look is hard to find thrifting. Like it's just there's a cleanness to it that
So
money buys.
yes. So I will say that when I say a minimum of $100 per look, this is always with the idea that I'm going to be able to save money on a different one.
Hmm.
Like that's
Oh yeah.
I just average it out. It's going to be about 100. Like the dress that we ended up using for May I Put You on Hold actually ended up costing. We went over budget on that one. I've never gone over budget
Right.
on a project. However, that one got very specific, and it got
Yeah.
very difficult. I think my dress was 120, and that was a
Mhm.
steal.
Oh yeah, for what that dress was, that color, yeah.
And I think everything else, my jewelry and my shoes and everything else was mine.
Hmm.
But I had budgeted 100 anyway. So just got to be realistic about it. So we so when you're doing that, like that's my bare minimum, but I also spend a lot more time shopping than most people want to. That is
Hmm.
the opportunity cost is not I would double that if you were going to do it yourself. If you were trying to budget what your costume and wardrobe budget's going to be, double it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so now you've got the okay from your director. You got the okay to start building looks. You don't have the okay to purchase. You have the okay to build
Just go
looks.
find pictures.
Right. And so let me see. Did I put the old one in here? Let's do this one next. We're gonna go back to this screen. I don't know what we'll see. Okay. Um, this is so I built this I built this sheet here. This is scene what does it say? I can't even read that. Whatever scene that is, 82, I don't care. And this is look number 4 and look D for blah blah blah. And I've start throwing things in each one of these as like, this is what I think they're wearing. And then it doesn't and again, I always say I don't own any of these things. These are still, I'm pulling these from the inspo board and putting them in there and building an arc for a story of like, she's comfortable, she's, trying to impress people, she's, what's her motivation when she got dressed that morning.
Mm-hmm.
And telling the director, I do not own any of these things. If you want them, and I will start filling in on that first spreadsheet what those things cost, and come back with a more realistic budget after I've filled in every one of these slides. And then they go, oh yes, I was like, I want to spend the money on this shirt, I want to spend the money on these pajamas, and you get those approvals. And then you start sourcing, and then you start purchasing, and then you start, keeping your budget intact and trying not to go over. And always, if you're going to count for you're going to do returns, do not count that into your budget, because you never know what's going to happen on set. So that's a bonus, not a built-in return. Like always, if you're buying something with the idea that you're returning it, always be prepared to take that loss as well. All right, I think I've gone through most of that.
Yeah, I will say like the process of like purchasing jeans for like my hero costume, like my main look. We had a very because there was only one outfit in the movie that was truly Amanda's clothing. It was really, really important that we nailed that outfit, and it looked not only just looked good on my body type, but also like really represented who Amanda was before the apocalypse happened. It became really important. The amount of work that Natalie and I did on finding the exact right pair of jeans to go with this look. Like we had the shirt already. I already owned it. I had some jewelry that kind of worked. That's fine. Whatever. Moving on. We kind of had a couple purse options, but for whatever reason, the blue jeans became the thing that we had to find the right cut, because it, again, Amanda is this express wearing clothing person. So those kinds of jeans, the editors, Express Editors, I think is the brand
Yeah.
that you really were
Yeah, I was
pulling
like, editor
from
pant was
mentally.
what I wanted. Yeah. Like,
It's this very specific, tailored look. So, like, I want to say I got up to like 20 pairs of jeans. Like, I would go out, I would find things, send them to her, go, what do you think? Great. And I would go track them down, find them, put them on. I only sent you the top, however many, like, from Amazon, from shopping, from Old Navy, all this stuff. Like, it was just that important to nail that look.
yeah. So in this story, Tara's character ends up not wearing her own clothes the rest of it. She's stuck in men's clothing because that's what we have. So yes, it was very important that looked very tailored to like expose the difference. And it was funny because Tara has a pair of jeans that fit her perfectly, that were the perfect pair of jeans. However, the color was slightly faded. It wasn't, it was the design.
It's the
But
design.
but I didn't, and I was like, I told her, I was like, I really hate to do this. I was like, but that's just not right. I want her to look like those are brand new, that she gets her clothes dry cleaned. That's what I
Yes.
want her to look
Yes.
like. So all those
Yes.
motivations going into like when you're picking costumes versus just going, and you can costume by just showing up in what you're wearing. I think that, and maybe no one else notices but me who's watching it. But
But they do tell a story like that. Those intentional clothing choices, just like we were talking with the art department when, like, how do they store their sugar? Where do they put their milk? Like, those intentional choices like that make the difference between just, a character and like a character that we really can, for some reason, on some really weird lizard level, understand and relate to. You immediately know who this character is because of the clothing they wear. It's these subconscious cues that we're getting. We do it all day long anyways. Like when I work my night job, I work at a bar and people come in dressed in their clothing, and I can know, like, oh, you have more people on the patio, that's where you're sitting. Oh yeah, the rest of your friends are over there, because of the way they dress. I can
yeah.
tell who goes together because clothing says so much about who we are as people. So it was really important to like get the right pair of jeans.
Well, and sometimes sometimes that's what you're showing too. Desiree just said, I know nothing about clothes, but sometimes that's what you're showing too, is that you don't care. Like, I don't mean you don't care. I just mean
Absolutely.
like what you're trying to convey through the person's clothing is that they didn't think about this that much, or they don't know that much about clothing, or they don't, That's not their number one priority. They throw things on. Sometimes that's what you're trying to convey, as opposed and those juxtapositions
Yeah.
between that, which became a fun storyline for me. I had a lot of fun costuming this because my character doesn't care about her clothes in the same way that, or her appearance the same way. She's very whimsical, very just doesn't, what she's trying to convey with her clothes is very different than what Taro's character is trying to convey. Amanda is trying to look put together. She takes a lot of pride in her appearance. And so I had this arc written into her character where as she comes to accept that she has to be wearing Jared's clothes more often, like she starts picking things out and tying up a shirt and trying to look more presentable in the clothes that she's stuck with. And then on the opposite side, my character starts to not care what Amanda thinks. And so I reflect that in her clothing. Like I think she was trying to brighten the room with her clothes as well. Like her person, she wanted to be sunshine in the room. But once she gets to a point like she's not trying as hard, and so she doesn't wear the same bright colors. It's still within her palette. I love having a palette
Oh
that's why I
yeah.
like doing
Oh yeah.
comedy
I love
because
palettes.
it's so fun to have a palette for a
Oh
character.
yeah.
But anyway, it was a lot of fun to like go through and then really dissect that and have
Hmm.
reasons why she's doing
Yeah.
this, and
Oh, it's so fun.
uh,
Yeah. I think the other thing that you really were intentional about that I love so much is picking out like the hero costume, especially
mhm.
because so one of the things that Natalie and I talked about early on is that Natalie said, I want to treat this movie as if it is a cult classic. Let's already just pretend like it is a cult classic. Let's just make every choice intentionally as if everything is going to be picked apart as if it's a cult classic, which was great. It really set this high bar for us when it came to making choices and not just like,
Mhm.
oh, that'll do. No, all these choices mattered. And so when it came to wardrobing, Natalie really belabored over the hero costume. And what that
Mhm.
means, the way Natalie explained it to me, is like if somebody wanted to dress up for Halloween as this character, what are they going to wear? Like, what is the poster costume? What's the hero costume? If they're going to make a Funko Pop doll of us,
Mhm.
what would it be? And I love that. Why did you even think of that? That's such a great way of looking at it.
So that's how I used to want to do a like some sort of class or something. I don't know. Like it was back when we had the channel. I used to always try to figure out how I could do source around this, like making a costume for cheap. Like
Uh-huh.
it's really easy actually to from cartoons. Cartoons are the easiest one. So
Hmm.
that's why the Funko Pop comes into mind. So
Okay.
like if you wanted to make a costume based off of any character in any movie that go online and find someone's artist rendering of it. Someone not don't take a picture from the movie. Find the picture that
Smart.
someone else made of the thing. Find the fan art, find the Funko Pop, find the whatever. And that is the
The
quintessential outfit
distillation.
that's what
Yeah.
everybody's brain remembers. So now if you can take that and go to the store to the thrift store, you can find the items that are similar enough to that. So I had to do that so often with a drinking game. So we're
Hmm.
doing a drinking game, and I want people in costumes that like we're not bound. We're more bounding than we are doing cosplay. So we're Disney bounding. Like what do people in their mind's eye remember about that character? Oh, it's Princess Bride. You're not going to go buy the Princess Bride dress,
No.
but you can get a long red dress that's flowy,
Yeah.
and that does it. And
Yeah.
so that's where that original concept came from. And so when we were doing this, I was like, I want to have that. I want there to be a Halloween costume. If you were two girls who are dressing up like us for Halloween, which one is that? And what is that? And once I picked it, I was very like solid about like I want these to be the pictures we're taking, what we're wearing in the I'm reverse engineering there being a Funko Pop. Like I'm like, this is what's going to be in the poster.
Let me do the
This
work
is
for
what's going to be
you,
in the trailer.
Funko.
This is what's going to, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think it's fun.
Yeah.
I've done so many short films that you have just one costume.
Hmm.
Like everyone's just in
Yeah.
one costume. So this was a really unique experience to kind of like, well, this is the one that I think is our big hero costume. This is what we're wearing the
Yeah.
most.
Yeah, yeah.
These are the
Yeah,
big
like you and
scenes.
the
Yeah.
you in the robe like comes to mind. Like when we
Hmm.
think about the poster, like you in the robe on the street is like always the image, and the gas mask. Like that comes to mind for me
Hmm.
so
Oh,
much
that's not
because
bad. Why is
because
it letting me hit
that's
this?
just so striking and odd. I think
Yeah.
that's like your Funko Pop is you in this terry cloth, pink and white striped
Yeah.
robe, holding a gas mask, wearing purple pajama pants and slippers. Like this is
Yeah.
your that's your Funko.
So yeah, I mean, and this costume was talked about in the script. Like this, we
Hmm.
described the juxtaposition of these two characters through this, like the sunshine and this baseness, which is hysterical because it's fish out of water for Tara's character because she's not wearing her own clothes. So it doesn't say the same things about her. It says more about her situation than it does about her as a person. Anyway, so like yeah, I mean, even though like, and this is what I think is more interesting about these costumes than anything else is that they're not that attractive. They we look terrible. I mean,
Yeah.
they're run down. And it's not just because they're run down because we distress them. Like they're run down because that's true to the character
Hmm.
versus it being pristine. And in comedy, you can get away with more of that, but I do like to ground it and have a little bit more realism in it.
Right.
Like you still get away with, with the colors being brighter than you normally would and stuff like
Hmm.
that. But
Yeah.
I do prefer to go, no, these pants are not her good. So my choice in my pants there are like, these are the pants that were packed away into the bunker because they didn't fit anymore, but they were still too good to get rid of, and you weren't putting good stuff down there. So like that,
Yeah.
that's how. So there's a thought behind every element of it if you're kind of doing it
Yeah.
right.
You do
I
it
don't
that
know.
way.
Hmm.
So okay, you did all this prep work, like, and thank goodness you did all those canvas because I mean there was
Yeah.
strings of canvas that we had to do because we had to pass all this work off. Prep week, what was
Hmm.
prep week like for you? Because now you're like landing, you're going to not your hometown, you're going to Alabama
Right.
where you're bringing everything with you. You
Hmm.
like literally loaded up the car with half the wardrobe and drove all the way. So once you
Yeah.
got there and we're in that week before, what was that week like for you?
So it's like, yeah, 90% of the clothing came from either my closet or Justin's closet because Tara was wearing our Jared, the character Jared's
Yeah.
clothes the entire time. So I sourced 90% of it from Justin's closet. Justin doesn't have a closet. I have a closet. Justin has a drawer. Anyway, so now you're transporting it. Now you are organizing. You're doing those last minute purchases. Like you and I had a thing where it's like, because we weren't in the same room, I was trying on the costumes and just hoping for the best. Like we were already at this, like, well, we're probably going to have to go shopping for at least one or two items because we're going to get there and
Mhm.
it's not going to work. Or once we do that costume parade with, Mike wanted a costume parade. Which it's not what it's called in film. In film, it's
Yeah, I don't know what
called
it's called.
uh,
I forget.
it's screen test. Screen test is what there is
Screen
what you
test? Yeah. Okay.
yeah. Which we weren't doing it on camera on the right camera and on the with the right lighting, which is what you're doing with a screen test normally. But we were just let's get these next to each other. Let's see them in person instead of on a slideshow. And there was a little bit of juggling. We don't like this. Where I've got a
Hmm.
whole box full of extra clothes. Actually, I didn't pack anything that couldn't possibly be used on the film. Justin wasn't allowed to pack any clothes that couldn't possibly be used on the film. it was, that was all of the extra clothes I brought were things that could potentially be moved in there. And then it's just, organizing, ironing. I wasn't as organized as I normally like to be. I'm crazy enough that I like to have different color hangers for each character, but I was not going to go out and buy hangers
I think that's
here,
smart though.
like
Yeah. Yeah.
it just keeps, I don't know.
It
I
helps.
don't know
Yeah.
that it helps in the morning, but once the day starts rolling, it's like I don't know that it's that helpful. Because now you got to find the right color hanger to put things back on instead of just grabbing one. And then we had a bit of distressing that needed to happen for costumes. Like there was one jacket specific that Mike was like, "How new is that?" I'm like, "Actually, that's a pretty." I mean, it was my jacket, but it was like,
Yeah.
"It's a pretty new." I mean, I don't wear it often. I wear it at the ranch once or twice, And
Yeah.
he's like, "Can it look more worn?" And I'm like, "Oh."
Yeah.
Which is rough. I'm like gonna go rough up a Duluth jacket that doesn't really necessarily need it, and I did it, and it looks fine. It
It
looks
looks
great.
it's
Yeah,
great. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, you
But
guys
then
distressing it was really fun because I'm like wearing it and you're like, and now you're gonna crawl under the house, and now you're on your knees, and now you're you rubbed up against this beam, and like you're like rubbing dirt on me in the right places. It was really kind of funny. It was like
uh
a fun
y-
experience.
yeah, distressing can be real fun, like if you like when it's something needs to get dirty or something needs to get worn, like
Hmm.
you're like if you it can be a game if you want it to be. Like you're going to go, okay, well, where was this worn? Okay, the cuffs are going to be really worn down because they
Yeah.
wear this at the ranch and da da da. So you're scrubbing it again, like, and the same thing with like, oh, that elbow probably ripped on a thing one time. Like
Yeah.
I did it, what? I did it for a zombie costume once when we did the
Mm.
Imaginary Friends Inc. And
Okay.
it
Yeah.
starts off, you're just ripping and you're tearing. You're like, oh, and then I was like, yeah, but no, her skirt got caught on some barbed wire. And I like ripped that part over there. I don't know. It can be its own little game if you want it to be.
That's fun. That's really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is where her nose bled on it.
Oh, hilarious. Yeah, so the weekend before for a wardrobe is a lot of like prepping clothing, ironing, doing last
Ironing,
minute
yeah.
details, putting things together, hanging everything up and putting it together, getting yourself ready. Because once you go into filming, it is chaos and you won't necessarily have time to like do any of those like little nitpicky
Yeah.
detail things. We were so lucky in filming. We had a wardrobe assistant named Meredith who
Hmm.
was an absolute godsend. She was so good. I know she felt like she didn't do anything, but like without her, we wouldn't have been able to do it because she would take Natalie's Canva pages and tape them all up on the wall for us. And so we would know as they were moving scenes around because we had to move scenes a lot for all kinds of
Hmm.
reasons. Very good reasons. I'm going to say very good reasons. They'd move the scene on us. So we're like, oh, okay. And we have to go find the scene on the page and go, okay, we're moving to scene 5. We're doing scene 5, which means I'm wearing this now. Okay, change
Yeah.
of plans. So there was no like put your clothes in order. It was more like just where are we at that day. And she would pull stuff for us and set it aside. So literally we just run in, change,
Hmm.
and run back down to set because there was no time to lollygag.
Yeah. Which is as a wardrobe person, that's what you should be doing. You should be pulling everything, having it ready. I do like the cam. So we end up printing out all of the Canva pages and being able to go, okay, this is scene. And because again, you're not filming in order, so you are filming. You're going to film all the kitchen scenes today, which means you're going from scene 5 to scene 42 to scene whatever. You're bouncing around. And that means you're changing costumes constantly, and then you have to like keep continuity with that and stuff. So
Hmm.
Meredith did a really great job. She took my Canva and she actually made her own sheet of it, and inserted the pictures from the costume parade into them and made her own notes on them, cleaned them up so that they were easier for her to like go through. And then these are printed up, and she'd go through the call sheet and she'd go, this is the order we're doing them in. And she'd put them up on the wall. Normally I end up like hanging this stuff on the hanger because I'm in charge and no, like the people come in and I just hand them clothes. Like, so when I'm doing wardrobe, but having to hand it off, I was like, I am going to do as much work as humanly possible. And I will say there were still flaws in the system because you get into this picture and you can't really tell that that's the green shirt and not the brown shirt.
Mm-hmm. Hmm.
And somehow I cannot tell you how at all I kept it in my head. So there were like 2 or 3 times through the entire thing, only like 2 or 3 times where I was like, "That's not the right shirt, Tara."
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Like those are not your socks.
Oh,
Or
famously, those are the wrong songs.
the socks looked so similar. It was Tara's socks. They looked so similar to the men's socks, and I was like, "Those." I looked down. I'm like, "Those are not your socks." And then the same
Ah.
thing. The same thing was like Tara had a button up that looked very similar to one of the items that and she brought it in, and I was like, no, that's not allowed to go back to set. Do not bring that shirt
It was
back to
too
set.
close in color.
It looks too close.
Oh, it's so funny.
um but yeah, and then so as a costumer on set, your job is to put clothes on people, and then immediately following that, your job is to do last looks, keep it, you go down and you go down to set, and they get it on set, you're looking at the lights, blah, blah, blah. And you're making sure that they look how they're supposed to look in it. Like, I mean, like the collar's
Is it
not flipped
tucked
out
right?
funny.
Is
That's
it?
tucked
Yeah,
right. You blah,
yeah.
blah. And what I do is I like to take pictures offset of what this is what I want this to look like. I'll take it, stand there, let me get a continuity photo. So you got your hands up if you got any jewelry on, you got your if you have earrings, you're getting all of that and stop hitting my mic. You're gonna get all of that into the image, including socks and shoes if you can. What's the hair doing? That's not on my department, but it might be.
But
Yeah. And then we weren't doing that, but I think that's because we were just too crazy.
oh, it's too busy. Yeah,
It was too busy. Meredith was still getting continuity photos.
she
She
was.
was grabbing them while we were on set, and I'll go ahead and throw this one up there. She was grabbing. I mean, she had pictures behind scenes too. And then at the end of the day, she would insert these into another page in the Canva. So she would
Hmm.
take pictures on set, our continuity photos, and she would throw them in there so that when we had to change back into that costume, we
We
had
knew
frame
it.
of reference to
Yeah. If
see.
Yeah, in
Yeah.
case anything last minute change or whatever, because stuff did happen. Like in the middle of the thing, you're like, oh no, that's right, I did do this, like this
Well,
weird thing with
yeah.
the shirt, whatever.
And
Like there's
and and
stuff.
like there's plenty. I mean, this is one that I'm always really bad about. I'm like, which button did I go to
Oh yeah.
on my shirt? And if I don't have a
Yep.
picture, I have no frame of reference. Which button did I go to on my button up? Yeah, so Meredith was oh my
So
gosh. We were like the
godsend.
week leading up to filming, and I was like, guys, I can do this. I can do this. You do not want me to be doing this by myself. Like,
Yeah.
I, it will be, it will slow us down. It will
Hmm.
be so stressful for me.
Hmm.
And I didn't have to. I walk upstairs, my stuff was ready after like the second day of realizing and having those references there. Oh my gosh. It was like, that first day of and Meredith, when I met her, she came to the costume parade and she, asked all the right
She asked
questions.
all the right questions. She
That's
had a
always
little
my thing. You asked
notebook, and I was like,
all
"Oh,
the
we're
right
gonna be
questions.
fine."
Oh yeah,
She's
it was
great.
fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah,
It was great.
she immediately won me over. I was like, "Oh, she's fantastic.
Hmm.
I already know this is gonna go well." She was so fastidious.
And
Immediately, like taking notes. I'm like, "I love you."
and she asked at the end when we were wrapping up, she's like, "Do you need me to take anything home and wash it?" Or I'm like, "No, I will. I'll take care
Yeah,
of it. Like I have a washing machine." But like that is, that's the
that
only
is
other
a
thing
department.
during filming week that you need to like be aware of. Tara and I are running around in the same socks the whole time. It's like,
Yeah,
do I need to wash these? Do I,
yeah,
and does something get stinky? Does it need to be washed? Did something get
yeah,
something spilled on it? Blah blah blah. I did sock laundry quite a few
yeah.
times,
Laundry for the socks was like the big thing because I literally wore the same socks
which was
constantly
silly
just
because
because they're
there was
just
another
easier.
pair. Yeah,
There
there was
was, but it was
another
just
of the exact
easier,
same kind.
Yeah, it was just easier. Just give me my socks.
I did have the second
Just
pair.
I think Justin even found another pair of the same socks as well. I was like, oh, we had multiple pairs, but it was just easier to wear these same socks
No,
the entire time.
no, there was another pair that was really similar, and we tried, and yeah, because I
Oh.
did the laundry, and I'm like, where'd this other? And then I realized, no, they're similar, but they're not the same. They had a logo on the toe, and I was like,
Uh,
get out of here with that.
Speaking of laundry, that's a big part of wrapping out is you gotta, wash everything, get it all ready, and then returns are a huge part of wrapping up. What else did you do in the wrapping up process? Like you and I really divided out and like just took care of our own departments.
Yeah, it's gathering it all back together is kind of a thing. It's returns. I try to do returns, like we did returns early on because we realized there was quite a few things that were backups in case things didn't fit. We sent those back
Hmm.
immediately to get that money
Oh,
back
right.
in the
Yeah.
account. And then it was like anything that we kept because we might still want to use it, but we did those returns. Oh, returns. While you're unboxing things, let's just go back to the
Oh
beginning.
gosh. Way back. Go back.
It's the minute things get there, keep track of your bags. This happens every time. Like,
Every time.
start a pile of the bags.
Hmm.
And here's another thing: is that you might even want to write, or I sometimes put a note card inside the bag
Oh,
that says
smart.
what item came out of it. Because
Yep.
sometimes you get to the end, you're like, I can't tell. Was this?
That's
There's like,
smart. Okay. Yeah.
excuse me. But
Yeah,
yeah,
even when
it's
you're doing like your own purchasing from Shein, I just recently did this. Where
mhm,
recently from Shein, I bought a bunch of stuff, just took everything out, tried everything on. So I'm looking for red carpet outfits,
mhm.
and then I didn't keep track of what bag, and I got to return one of them because I realized way later I was like, oh, this isn't the dress I bought. The sleeves are totally different. I don't know
Yeah.
which bag it goes in. We'll see what
Mhm.
happens. Yeah, putting a little note
And
card is great.
yeah, and so then after returns are done, I think your big thing is expenses and sending your receipts in. Um, that's also when you're getting your receipts, you might want to write on it, especially if you're so did so much through Amazon that, it was
Hmm.
really easy. But
Yeah.
I did have a couple, and when you're getting things and you're buying them, right at the top of your receipt, if you're even if you're planning on returning them, what those items are too, if it doesn't say specifically. But also you might want to like I try to identify what each item, which receipts are for what items. This was three
Hmm.
pairs of Karen jeans and whatever.
Yeah,
Um,
that's smart.
yeah, that's where you're is sending in your expenditures and whatever. Even if you're not getting reimbursed for them, even if you did it
Mhm.
on company card, which I had done, it was still you need to have they need to have those. So keep track of your receipts.
Yeah, yeah. And turn in, and then the very last thing, which no one is good at, it's really difficult for everybody, is to send your invoice so that you can get
Yeah.
paid.
Yeah. Yeah.
We were laughing about that. Like Natalie, we're at our last meeting, and like everyone finally got paid. We got everyone's invoices, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm the worst about sending my invoice." Like,
I'm
it's the hard
terrible.
for whatever reason. Like, and you're not the only one. I crew wise, I'm always like chasing people. Like, I need your invoice. I would love to pay you.
Mhm.
So funny, so funny. Yeah, I think like overall as a wardrobing experience on this one, like all of the legwork and the hard work that you put in prepping this thing for like months really paid off in the filming process because it, like you said, you didn't want to slow us down, you didn't want to be stressed out, you didn't like all these
Mhm.
variables, want to make sure we had the right things on the right body at the right time with the right number of buttons. It all paid off because I think one of the really strong things about the story is the clothes that we're all wearing are so they aren't just clothes we put on. We are
Mm.
really wearing real thoughtful pieces of clothing that make sense, that follow the storyline, that inform the character. So I think that's all your hard work and I really appreciate you for it. So thank you.
Thanks.
And also
Yeah.
thank you for making me look good in men's clothes because that's not easy.
So that was another thing. It was like I'm putting Tara in clothes that are supposed to be too big for her, and I did a couple times. It was like, there's certain ones where you should look very uncomfortable and you should look silly or you should
Hmm.
look out of water, like, and then it's like there's other ones where it's like, but can we also not make you look like trash?
Yeah.
Like
It's
like
not easy.
how do
It's
we
not
how
easy.
do we yeah how do you tell that
When you have
story?
very wide hips, it is not easy to look cute in men's clothes. Like if you're a very slender, tiny girl, like it's easy. You look great in
Hmm.
any oversized men's clothes. But when you have hips, I have very large hips. It's hard. It just
Well,
men's clothes doesn't look cute.
I will say before we did the costume parade with Mike, you and I did our own costume parade.
Oh
I had
yeah.
already tried all of my clothes on and made going, no, 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 that doesn't look good with that, blah, blah. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, things laid out on the floor that I've taken pictures of do not look the same as they're going to on a human body. And
No.
I tried on all of Tara's
Mm-hmm.
costumes already that I had
Yeah.
and had already decided some of them didn't work. But then we put them on Tara. It was like, okay, wait a minute. That needs a lighter top in order
Yeah.
for
Oh yeah,
those
yeah, yeah.
pants,
Uh-huh.
or those pants can't go with that top. I mean, it's just like it
Right, yeah.
was. And so we made a lot of last minute changes before we even did the costume parade because I didn't
Mm-hmm.
like the way it looked. And I didn't want, I don't, I didn't even want it to be an option.
Yeah, no, no,
Let's
no.
change it now.
Because yeah,
Yeah.
don't give it an option because it does not work on my
No.
frame. Like
Hmm.
it didn't work. And oh man, there's a pair of jeans that I immediately was like, I want these. Those
Hmm.
production jeans, Lucky Brand, men's jeans that fit me like a boyfriend cut jean of your 90s dream. Like they're perfection. I love them. I'm very ginger when I wear them. Like I make sure I'm not doing anything where I'm like going to be doing art or cleaning anything because I love them. And until I can find more of them, I have to be careful with them. So anyway, so thank you for
Yeah.
all of your hard work. All right, that is pretty much the summation of the wardrobe department. It was a lot of work, but so very worth it. I can't wait for you guys to see our hero costumes and someday see our Funko Pop. Doll, before we leave for the day, we do have our favorite section where we teach you guys some vocabulary. We call
That's
this
right. That's
the
me.
Abby Singer shot. I was trying to lead you in. I like
That's me.
I
That's
try to
me.
throw out keywords for things to like lead you in, and then sometimes I want you all to know. Sometimes Tara prattles on because she's trying to buy time for whatever logistical thing is happening, and so she just sounds like a moron while we wait for something else to be taken care of. Okay. You ready, Freddie? Give me my Abby Singer.
Yeah, yeah. Okay,
Okay.
so I'm gonna try to start searching for these other terms. So we start off with Abby Singer as the reason
Yeah.
that we have this whole section. There's a lot of kind of offensive ones that are like not used anymore, and
Oh,
I want
oh.
to find them. This one's
Uh-huh.
not offensive,
Okay.
but I know there's a bunch of these like you can't say that. Anyway, this one, so this one's not, but the secondary part of this one is. So this one, the term is a creep,
Okay.
which is a camera movement. It's a slow,
Mm.
subtle, often
Yeah.
imperceptible dolly or zoom forward that like while you're watching it, you don't necessarily
I love
notice
those.
it.
Yeah.
However, it's normally evoking
Yeah.
like this like serious, it can be drama. A lot of times it's in drama. You'll like this really
Yeah. During the
slow
long
zoom.
monologue or something. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Otherwise, it's tension. It often builds tension. There's a really good one. It's almost too, it might be too fast. You don't notice it at first, but you start to really notice it. But
Hmm.
I consider it a creep. In Misery, that
Okay.
Misery one where she's got him in the bed, she's going to hobble him. And like the
Oh,
camera is
uh-huh.
slow, both
Yeah.
sides of it, it's
Yes. Yeah,
slowly
I remember that.
creeping
I
in.
remember that.
We kind of did a creep in this
Yeah, we were
film.
working on.
I think it might be a little too fast. Ours is too fast to be a creep. Now, okay,
Okay.
here's the offensive one. Here's the fun part, okay?
Go.
Double up. Mickey Rooney. So a Mickey Rooney is a slow creep, a slow short creep. So if you do a creep that's a real like a creep shot and it's really really short,
Yeah.
it's a Mickey Rooney because he was considered.
Oh my I've heard the term Mickey Rooney being used on set in a way, like as not as a verb, as a is that how I want to do that? I don't know how grammar works.
Yeah,
Anyways, but
yeah.
used as a like we're gonna do this and not a name. And now I know it means short.
It's a short creep. So there are
Amazing.
so many of those that exist, and I have to. I'm trying to
Oh,
figure out.
find them all.
I'm trying to convince Google to actually let me know because like
Any
it's.
of our film friends out there, if you're listening to this and you know of these offensive ones
I
that we should send them to us.
I
We
know
want to
like
know.
two other ones, and I'm gonna have to
Okay.
try to see if I
Oh
can
yeah.
find them.
Oh yeah. We're
Yeah.
gonna call the Hive Mind. Hive Mind, help us out. I'm gonna post this literally just to get you some more.
Oh
That's
my gosh, I
amazing.
love
I
it.
love it. I love it so much. That's so good.
Yeah, that's the other one.
Oh,
I know that one does. That's that. We'll
that's
do that
good.
one. Yeah.
That's good. That's so good. All right, before we wrap out, another thank you again to Jack Boots for PayPaling us some cold, hard cash for us to use in our post production process. If you want to financially help us with post production right now, we have a PayPal set up for you. We do the super chats when we go live on YouTube. But also, if you want to be an investor, we are still looking for some investors to help us through the post production process. Just email us and we will send you straight over to Allison to talk more details about that process. I'm going to say, like, our post production budget right now is looking what the amount of money we need still is not that much, and we're going to be able to accomplish this so easily. And so it's just going to take a couple of angel investors and a little crowdfunding, and we're gonna have it in the bag, guys. I'm so excited. So if you want to be a part of that, there's so many different ways to do that.
And Shannon West
Next
says
week,
script, hint, hint, poke, poke, nudge, nudge, script.
I'm so sorry, Shannon. And next week we're coming back and we're going to be talking to the camera department, specifically David Ogle, who is our DP, our amazing, incredible DP who pulled some major strings and got us a very fun lens that he will tell you all more about next week.
Mhm.
If you are a camera person out there, if you want to be a camera guy, this is an episode for you. David is such a sweetheart and such a nice guy, and like he does not hold back on telling you information that you need to know. He's very much has the heart of a teacher, and which is how he was with his crew. Like he very much wanted them to rise up, teach them all that good stuff. So join us for that one. It's going to be very informative. All right, guys, if you are listening to this podcast, you can join this conversation live. We go live every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Pacific time. We do read the chat, as you can tell from us talking to Shannon about the script. We weave those into the conversation as we go. Natalie's really, really good about it. I'm not so great at paying attention to the chat, but we get there. So if you want to be a part of the conversation and ask direct questions, join us there. If you're watching us live on YouTube and you had to leave or you came in late and want to know the rest of the story, the full podcast goes up about 28 to 48 hours after the live stream. And so you can catch up on whatever you missed there. So we hope that you do. And if you're going to do one subscribing thing, go subscribe to our podcast because those downloads really help us. We're trying to get the word out to more filmmakers. And the best way to do that is for you guys to listen, download, watch, and share. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining us. As always, it was fun. And we're going to see you next week. Stay safe, make movies.
Bye.
Welcome to the Credit Cookie, guys. Natalie, you have to go.
I have to leave. I'm going to a film festival, guys. I have to go. Bye.
She's literally gonna go. Bye.
Bye.
Hilarious.
Wait, I don't know how to leave. I never leave
I
this
got
way.
you. Wait.
No.
I got it. You're good. Okay, I'm gonna hang out for a few minutes with you guys. Natalie's got a film festival in Utah, and like literally her block is starting in too few minutes for her. So she's got a 45-minute drive to go catch it. So I'm gonna stay for a few minutes and do any chit chatting we need to do. Just so you guys know, I feel like we've announced this. But I'm going to make it more clear on this one. Natalie and I are going to be going to the Julian Dubuque International Film Festival at the end of this month-ish. It's like the 20th that week. That week, we're probably going to move the live stream to a different date entirely, and it probably isn't going to be like an official podcast episode. More like a live stream from the Julian Dubuque. We'll have more details for you as we get closer. We're still sussing out the schedule, but I want to give you all a heads up that the live stream is going to change ever so slightly for then. And I know it really matters to you credit cookie people out there who hang out with us afterwards. So we're going to be going live from the Julian Dubuque Film Festival headquarters like we did last year. What the episode's going to be about, I don't know. We'll figure it out when we get there. We still have a lot of other things to take care of first. So just a heads up on that. Live from Ben's basement. Hilarious. Yeah, it starts on the 18th. We won't get there till the 20th. And then we're going to be doing all of our usual interviewings, the table reads, all that good stuff. I'll be posting like a mad woman on our Instagram stories like I always do because it's super fun to share that stuff with you guys. So you won't miss us. You'll get so much content. You will not miss us at all. All right. This week in my life, it's been, I've been doing just like still trying to recover from filming. Like, I have just been mostly going to my day job and trying to get as much done there as possible. I've kind of slid into a little bit of a management position there, like not officially, but informally. I'm one of the 3 managers who does managerial stuff. And kind of my part of that managerial system is the organization and cleanliness of the bar that I work at. And so I've got this like, because we were filming and the lead up to filming was so intense, all of that work kind of had to be just kind of put to the side. Oh, and I also I produce the events for us. So like that's a huge undertaking every month. And once a month I have an event that I produce. But because the filming took up so much of my bandwidth, I had to just do the bare minimum of that work. And now that it's spring as well, and the sun's coming out and the rainy weather is kind of starting to end, I'm taking the opportunity that I've got that not as much is going on with post-production just yet to just like spend as much time as humanly possible getting my day job into a place that I'll be able to manage it better later on. So my life has been a lot of that, a lot of like just day job grind kind of stuff. Yes, they are giving me management pay. Like, not a raise per se. A lot of times in bar culture, if you're like the lead bartender, which I guess is another thing that you could say that I am, I kind of get the added benefit of I get to not really pick my schedule, but I am top of the rung when it comes to the schedule. So I get a lot of the best shifts where the most money is made. It's also skill based, so I'm one of the better bartenders there as well. I'm really fast. I'm a very good bartender. It's this crazy skill I've built up over 20 years. So I get to work like the Friday, the Saturday nights, the big events because I plan the events. I get to work the events and make the big money and stuff. So in a way, I do get management pay, and then I get to clock in a lot of extra paycheck hours doing all the work that I'm doing. So that's nice. So my paychecks are a nice size because they pay well here in California for serving. So I've just been that is where I have been a lot as of late is just trying to get that day job work, and I think that's like a thing that we artists don't talk about a lot when it comes to the life. Like we try to compartmentalize the two things. Like we try to compartmentalize our artistic job from our survival job. And I was the same way. I would very much compartmentalize those two jobs for a very long time. But in the last couple of years, because of the strikes and COVID and just a lot of my own personal life things going on, I have become so incredibly grateful for this job. Like having a consistent day job when so many of my film friends are struggling and worried about paying the rent and trying to piece it together. Like I have this immense gratitude toward this day job now. And so I don't compartmentalize it as much, and it does take a priority every once in a while. Like it will move to the front of the list of the things that need to be get done or the things that are important to me. So right now we're just in a window where it's kind of top of the rung while I get this out of the way, like get it set up so that I can then turn my focus back to things like the crowdfunding that we need to do, the post-production work. I'm gonna have to go do an ADR session for the movie, like figuring that out. I'm probably gonna go trade some days with some folks in New York to kind of help us with post-production costs, which I'm super down and excited to do. I would love to go trade days on another project. So, and I'm just trying to like get as much of the day job stuff done now so that I can clear my bandwidth for those things later. So I am working a lot. There's a lot going on right now. And just everything is all in crazy upheavals, but I'm grateful. I'm very grateful. I realize that I live a very charmed life even when things are going really rotten. I still live a really really charmed and lucky life. I mean, I made a movie, so I've done something that very few people can say. Yes, Desiree, ADR can be fun. Funny thing with me and ADR, I sweat like a maniac when I'm doing ADR. I don't know what it is about doing voiceover and ADR. Every time I've ever done it, it's not even just that I'm in a booth, because I've done ones where I'm in like a nice sized booth and I have plenty of AC and everything is fine. I sweat so much. I don't know what it is about like standing in one place and doing the same amount of acting, but like pretending like I'm moving and stuff, that like it just makes my body go into overdrive and I get so warm. Like I have to be very selective what I wear to an ADR session so that it's not like just giant sweat stains all over me. No, no white because I'll ruin that white shirt. Yeah, yeah, it's totally fine because I'm not on camera. It doesn't matter how I look. But good Lord, it's very funny. I noticed it really early on in my career that that is a thing. Um, oh Ben, yeah, we're not gonna be worrying about Galena. No big sweat. We're gonna be mostly staying at headquarters. I'm actually gonna. I think headquarters is moving. The film festival headquarters is moving to closer to the Five Flags, which like I'm bummed about because I love the Hotel Julian, but also like being closer to Five Flags would be so great because the walks in the morning were sucky. People either love or despise it. It's hard. ADR is very hard. Like trying to match up your voice and your inflection and your acting with the lip flap that you did, like it's really, really hard. Like I have to work really hard at it. I am not naturally gifted. I have a couple of friends who are amazing and they do anime and they're incredible at it. And I did the same auditions they did to do anime voices and did not get the job because I just I have to work at it to get good. And also my diction is terrible. I really have to work at my diction. Whenever I do a voiceover for anything, I can hear how lazy my speech patterns are. It stinks. I hate it. So I've been actually reading to my nieces, doing like a little recorded of books for them and sending them the audio file just to also help work on my diction because it's just so bad and my sight reading skills are terrible. Oh God, I'm reading Little House on the Prairie right now to them, and I am terrible at sight reading. I will get better, but man, I'm not good at it. That's the dyslexia. All right, guys. It is 11:18. I'm gonna give Natalie a call because we still have some work to cover, and I'm gonna get on with this day. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next week. Everything will be, the usual for the credit cookie next week. And yeah, thank you again. It's so good to see you all. See you all in quotation marks.